Welcome to another edition of PENSDOWN. This is where we sit with journalists and we talk about their journalism journeys. A lot goes on as they go about gathering the news, packaging, processing, and readying them for your consumption. Sometimes some of the things they go through, they are unable to share because they are not supposed to be participants in the news reporting enterprise. They are only observers. But this platform is dedicated to the behind the scenes issues. I have a colleague joining me today. He is a broadcast journalist and lecturer who is currently the media and communication strategist of the Springboard Roadshow Foundation. That sounds huge. He is also a child of God with a great sense of humor. His decade and a half professional experience has left imprints on the sons of notable media establishments in Ghana, like the Multimedia Group, the EIB Network, Media General, and the Class Media Group. From an assistant producer as an intern to news editor, presenter, producer, and almost everything in between, his professional life, like the nimble feet of a talented footballer, seem to have touched every grass on the field of broadcast journalism, particularly television. He has in the past lectured at the GH Media School and the Heritage Christian College, all in Accra, Ghana. He is a product of Ghana Institute of Journalism and the University of Ghana. Joining me today is my colleague, Eric Curtis Howard. You're welcome, my brother.
Thank you very much, Stephen.
Why journalism in the first place? What informed that decision to become a journalist or to choose journalism in the first place?
Okay. Let me start from junior high school.
Okay.
You know, normally when you go to school and let's say you're one of the good students in school, it is accepted that when you go to senior high school, you are going to read science.
That's right.
Yeah, you are supposed to go and read science. So I didn't choose the science for myself. It was my headmistress who chose that I should go and do science in infant swim school. Okay. So I went to infant swim school. I went to read science. But honestly speaking, I had no love for the science I was reading. Wow. It was like I was just in the class. I was just there. I was just monitoring what people were doing. But I realized that I was drawn more to students in the art class. Okay. Students who had to do more of geography, history, and those things. And most of them were my friends. And I was drawn to the visual arts students as well. So you won't find me in class. You'll find me among the visual arts students, even when class was going on. That is not to say I didn't pass my exams. I did. But the whole idea to be among the visual arts and the art student was very high. Then in Fanspen, we had a writers and debaters club. Okay. Then I went to join the writers and debaters club. Then from SS1, I was contributing writing the school articles, like articles on the school notice board and all those things. So when I got to SS2, I was made the editor-in-chief of the school magazine.
You mean a science student?
A science student.
Became editor-in-chief of the school magazine.
By then, Infancy was celebrating its 125th anniversary. Okay. And it was such a big deal. And I was to come out with a school magazine that can really tell the story of the school that is celebrating 125 years. And it was a big task for me. And that was where this whole journalism thing came, writing thing came. So you have to write articles, you have to go and interview the headmaster of the school, you have to go and interview the old students, you have to go and interview people out there. Anything that you need to put in the school magazine that will make it worth readable. I needed to do it. And I had a team and went to do it. And fortunately, by God's grace, the 125th anniversary magazine came out. And it was such a big hit. Almost everybody who came for that anniversary bought that magazine. Right. And during the speech and prize giving, I was awarded the Writer of the Year. And basically, so every award that has to do with writing on campus was given to me.
As a science
And
student?
as a science, and I was also the best English student on campus.
You mean a science student became the best English student?
Yes. So, so that was the whole thing when the whole journey at Infantspen. Again, let me tell you one funny thing. When I was in Infantspen, some 6 boys were suspended.
Okay.
Actually, they went to Wesley Girls. They went to the girls' dormitory to, there was light up on campus, the whole Cape Coast, and they decided to be recalcitrant, and they went to the girls. They went to do their own thing at Wesley Girls. Whatever they went to do, only God knows. Then I met the 6 boys. I interviewed them. I asked them what they went to do on campus and everything, like they went to do. Then they told me the story, and I wrote an article about it. And you know the title of the article? I named it "The Big Six."
I can trust you on that.
And I pasted it on the school notice board, and my senior housemaster saw it, and you can imagine, foolish boy. Students have gone to do something bad. Instead of you to bring their attention to it, you are
giving them hero status.
Hero status. It was such a big deal. So all those articles had to be removed from the notice board and everything. I mean, it was such a big deal. Everybody was reading the article because everybody wanted to know what those boys were up to. Yeah, that was
through that you were discovering the writer in you.
I just knew, because as at then, like the kind of things I was writing, it surprised me. At a point in time, I think my senior housemaster and my English teacher and everything told me that do I have plans to be a writer? By then, journalism hadn't come into my mind. It was more like, do you want to write and everything? And by then, I'd written, before I even entered Infantspen, I'd written a book. It was more of a novel. It was a novel, a storybook. It was, the title was Dark Waters. Yeah, so I'd written a novel and all those things. So yeah, I was thinking of doing more of writing, but then journalism hadn't really come into mind. It was after Infantspen, then at home, doing 1 or 2 things. Then this whole, I think I was having a conversation with my cousin, and he had gotten admission to the university to read sociology. And I was like, why not consider journalism? And I was like, nah. There was then that the thing dawned on me that, look, let me be a journalist. So I was suggesting it for him, and it came to me. And I went to GIJ. When I came to GIJ, admissions had been closed. It's been closed for 2 months. So yeah, so I came with my mom. I gave, I think Kweku Roxin was the rector. Yes. I gave him my results. He saw the results. He saw that it was good. He saw that, okay, admission has been closed. So I couldn't do the degree. They asked me that the offer will be for diploma. Do I want to do it? I said yes. So I filled the forms that day, went across the street, did the passport pictures that day, paid the money that day, signed that day, did everything in one day.
Is there any other miracle about you that the world will never do?
So I just did everything that day.
You mean in one day you were an applicant, you became a fresh student?
Yeah, I filled everything. So we had to go back home. Later on, I think 2 months later, those who were admitted when pasted on the notice board. So I went to class. I went to the school to check my name. But normally when I'm checking my name, I think it's a habit from Infantspen. I always start from the bottom, because I know that, okay, you check from the bottom, because definitely you'll not be first. So I checked from the bottom. I was going up, and I realized that my name was number 1.
Is this happening? Are you serious?
Yes, my name was the first name up there. Even though I was the last person who came, even though admissions had been closed, my name was the first name up there. And because of my name, some of my classmates thought, they had met a white man, or they have a foreign student on campus. And we had a PR teacher. I've forgotten his name.
Is it Mr. Bache?
No, he was physically challenged. Yeah.
Mr. Amponsa Bediakun.
Yeah, Amponsa Bediakun. Fantastic.
Well, he was teaching us advertising. I don't know if he taught you PR.
Yes, I think, he was teaching us PR as of then. Good. So he came, and he was like, when he came to class, the very first subject, he was like, who is Eric Curtis Howard. When I saw the names of my students, it was the first name that struck my attention. You get it? So from the first day of lectures to the last day I completed school, that man became my friend because of my unique name. So that's how I found myself in journalism. Yeah, that was it. That was the story. And when I completed GIG, the whole idea wasn't to go and do journalism. I wanted to do more of copywriting, video editing, advertising, proper advertising. Good. But when you complete school, you need a job. You need a place to go and do. You need a place to go and do internship. So I was posted to the Statesman, the then Statesman newspaper. I didn't like the place. So I spoke to my late dad, and he told me that he knows someone at TV3. So they called the TV3 news editor, and he called me to come. I went there. He asked me to start that same day, like in one day. You get me? So I had to go to TV3 to do that particular. He asked me to bring a letter, attachment letter, those things. But because it wasn't official, I had to write it my own, those things. Write my own letter and send it. So I went to TV3, and interesting enough, there were 15 people at TV3 by then doing their internship, and I was the last person.
You are always the last in so many things.
I was the last person there. 15 people doing the internship. Others had been there for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. Others have been there for longer. And the whole thing was that I remember the news editor by then said they are going to choose only 4 or 5 people to do their national service day.
Okay.
I joined in July. National service was starting in August. You get it? So I just had only 1 month to make an impression, but the others have been there for like 3-4 months, and let's say they've already made their impression already.
Yeah.
You get the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I realized that there was no way it was possible for me to go out on assignments to do news stories and everything. It wasn't going to be possible.
Yeah.
So I decided to go and learn the production aspect of journalism.
Okay.
Yeah. So I went to the studio. I met a guy there. His name was called Koshi. Yeah, so he taught me. You know that when you're watching television, there's the slacks, as in you see that 4 persons died, or let's say that a murder at, let's say, Kofi Krum, police arrest, go. We call them. We call those texts the slacks.
Okay.
Call it the slacks. Good. So I went there. Koshi taught me how to do the slacks and all those things. So I learned. So I mastered that one. I wasn't even going out for assignments. So I mastered that one and everything. So that's what I was doing. So the days question was not around, I was doing it, but I was doing it at the blind side of the news editor, at the assignment editor, and the producers and everything. But those in the studio just knew I could do it. So one day, Koshi failed to turn up for work because he was not feeling too well.
Okay.
And my boss, the news editor, asked, who can do the slacks? And out of the 15 interns, nobody could do it. In fact, even some of the staff who were working, they couldn't do the slacks. And I just raised up my hand that, I can do the slacks. Because she has taught me. I said, are you sure? They said, yes, I can. Maybe the technical people came and said, he has been doing it for the past 2 weeks now, and maybe nobody knows. So really, go and do it and let's see. It was a Saturday. I did it Saturday. It was successful. I did it a Sunday. It was successful. I did it a Monday. It was successful. Tuesday, news editor brings a letter. First person to do national service, Eric Curtis Howard.
Now, this is the finger of God, nothing more. Am I right?
It is more. That's why I always say I'm a child of God.
Your journalism career, did you do actual field reporting?
Of course. Look, if you used to watch TV3, I had my former boss, Robert Shrey. I love that man so much. You know what you do? He used to bring me the Ghana map.
Okay.
Then we'll look at the Ghana map and you will see a town. Then he will ask you, this town, is it also in Ghana? Then you'll be like, but once it's on the map, it's in Ghana. Then you'll be like, okay, if that town is in Ghana, then go there. Go and do a story from there. Just like that. You don't even know where to even pick a car to go.
No idea. No idea of even the story to do.
Story to do. One of my biggest stories was in 2009. I went to Tripoli. It was a by-election. I was not supposed to go because by then I was a young reporter. I didn't have the
muscle to handle that kind of assignment.
Yeah, to handle those kind of assignment. But apparently the reporter supposed to go wasn't available. So my boss told me that I should go. I remember the editorial meeting that morning. Who is he? This young man, what does he know? What is he going to do there? You know, those kind of things. You're not a journalist.
That's right.
When you have senior journalists who think that actually everything should revolve around them.
Yeah.
Said all sorts of things. And I remember my boss said that he's still going. And I remember the day I was going to board the vehicle, the office vehicle to go. My boss came to the vehicle to tell me that you heard what he said this morning at the meeting. And I know it has gotten to you, it might have broken you. Go and prove them wrong. Yeah, that's what he told me. So I went to Tripoli. The normal by-election covering nicely. And there was, let me say, war between the NDC and the,
that's right.
And they were throwing stones and everything. Now they started shooting live bullets. Even I had to crawl on my belly. Now this is the funny part. My cameraman and I, we had to lie down on the floor, crawl on our belly, and we were crawling on our belly to run to the police station for safety. Because we knew that when we get to the police station, we'll be okay.
That's
when
right.
we got to the police station, the policemen themselves were running for safety.
Nowhere cool.
The policemen themselves were running for safety. They would say, "Hey, we found ourselves into," and they were shooting. Bullets were flying. People were using the cutlasses. Look, it was serious. And my cameraman to Mohammed, I remember very well. He was a very brave dude. He went out there. He went to cover. He got the visuals and everything. Then I remember
of the active confrontations.
Then when he came back, he the tape was still in his camera. And I saw that one man, I don't know who he was, but he didn't want the visuals of what happened to reach the world.
Yeah.
So I saw him go to the TV Africa reporter, the cameraman, who also managed to get some visual. He took his tape from the camera and he destroyed it. I saw him do it with 2 other stations. Then I ran to Mohammed and said, "Mohammed, give me the tape." Mohammed, give me the tape. Mohammed gave the tape to me, and I put the tape inside my boxer shorts. So the man came to us. He searched.
You did what?
I put the tape inside my boxer shorts. The man came to us. He searched and searched and searched every tape we had. He didn't see the visuals. So he was convinced that we didn't get the visuals. Now, this is the trick. This is the funny part. We realized that the man himself was coming to Accra because a helicopter had come. And he was joining a helicopter to Accra. And I called the office and I gave the tape to the man himself. I gave the tape back to him. Now, when he gets to Accra, a reporter from TVT will meet him at the airport and take these tapes from, and you give them. Do you know, I did it based on trust because he searched us. He didn't see anything. So I just told them the tapes that he's holding, that I'm giving to him, were just the tapes of the rally that the 2 political parties did before the incident. It is nothing. So he carried the tape. In fact, when he got to Accra, the reporter who was supposed to meet him didn't come on time. He even drove to the office and brought the tape there. When I went to Joy, the same thing. And I remember very well, the very first time we had to use the live machine, the live machine. Yeah, I think Joy has gone to procure the machine and everything. So where you can do live reporting and everything.
Yeah.
I was the first reporter they sent out to go in, to be the guinea pig, to test run it. Then by then, I think it was the Alabayon in Konya clashes in the Volta region. And I've gone there. And I had to do a live report from there with the machine and everything. So it's like that. That's why the live reports, the reporting, field reports, I can't count. We've done it.
Let's look at it this way. let's turn the hands of time backwards, like 20 years. Would you still choose journalism?
No, I won't. I won't even think about it. I would have done advertising. I would have followed my passion. I would have followed what I want to do. And the funny thing is that what I wanted to do 20 years ago is what I've started doing now.
Okay.
Are you getting it? What I wanted to do 20 years ago is what I've started doing now. So then I asked myself, if I had started 20 years ago, what would have been the difference now? I am starting now.
Somehow, don't you think probably journalism seems to have shaped you and prepared you for this role so that you deliver more impactfully?
I thank God one thing journalism did for me, networking. Look, I've traveled to places I haven't paid a city. The first time I sat in an airplane, it was journalism. Now me, I'm going to use my money to use plane. You have no idea. In one day, I sat in a plane and a helicopter. In one day. The very first day I sat in an aeroplane, it was the same day I sat in a helicopter.
Oh, wow.
In one day. You get the thing. So
yeah, I get you.
I'm like, oh, Charlie, my first plane trip, first helicopter trip, all in one day. Yeah. This job, go do them. You know, that kind of thing. So it was just that journalism gives you network. It gives you I was one shy person. Even though in GIG, you knew me and you knew I was all round and everything. When it comes to the things of God, I'm loudmouth. Because those days at CCF, because I was the organizing secretary and I needed things to be organized. So I was all over the place. But aside that, approaching people, asking for their names, their interview, like those I couldn't do it. But journalism taught me to be bold. Let me tell you one of my lowest moments in journalism. I remember the finance minister who died, Kojo Banredo. Yeah, good. I was supposed to go to his office to do an interview. I went to his office and I wasn't fully prepared. I had written down some questions which were, let me put it this way, mediocre questions. I entered his office. We sat down, set the camera. I started asking the question. I asked the man the first question, he looked at me. I said, young man, what's your second question? I asked the second question, he looked at me. He said, young man, what's your third question? I asked the third question. You know what he said? Walk out of my office. Then I was like, oh, say, I beg you. I said, no, walk out of my area. We are not ready for this interview. So we're parking the camera and we're going. Then he called me back. He asked the secretary, in fact, we had gone out. He asked the secretary to call us back. And when the secretary called us back and we came back, and he wrote down questions for me. He wrote down 5 questions for me that I should ask him.
You mean the finance minister set questions for you, the journalist, to ask him so that he answers for you to record as though they are your original questions for you.
Thank you. Exactly. And look, I needed a story. So out of embarrassment or out of no shame or whatever it is, I asked him those questions. And I came to the office and I came to write a story. The story played on TV. And my boss was like, hey, did you ask the finance minister those questions? And I said, yes. Hey, you are very intelligent too.
Didn't the camera crew, were they not there when your boss was saying this?
But it was a secret between us and them. And then I remember there was another, when President Kufuor had an accident. You know, he had an accident.
Yeah, I remember.
President Kufuor had an accident, and he had gone to Christ the King Church to go and give Thanksgiving. So I'd gone there to go and do a story. And I wanted to interview the president. By then I was, let's say, stupidly bold and stupidly brave. I wanted to break protocol security and go interview the president. When I passed there, then one security man told me, hey, you, don't pass here. I saw the president moving to the other side. I said, you, don't pass there. So the president moving, oh, I tried. Then that same security man, he used one hand and he raised me. And I was hanging in the air. And my cameraman was recording. He was actually recording me hanging in the air. You get the whole thing.
I get it.
Eventually, we got to the interview.
Wow.
Got the interview. So, like I said, journalism created opportunities for me. I know people, I've met people, I've been at places that, look, had it not been for journalism, what am I going to do at the Flagstaff House or the Jubilee House? What am I going to do there? Or let's say Parliament House. What am I going to do there?
But does journalism pay? Does it pay?
Stephen, this question. Okay, let me say this. If you're not working with a notable media house, and you're working with the small print houses, the rented press, and all those things, you tend to feel it.
Yeah.
You depend on Solly a lot. But if you are working with the notable media houses and you've risen through the ranks and you've gotten to a certain level, I think the monies that they give to you, you get me? It's okay to make you live to be okay, not to be comfortable. Are you getting? You know, sometimes there are certain places they'll pay you and you become very comfortable or too comfortable.
Yeah.
What journalists will give you that you'll be okay. At least by the end of the month, some 500 cedis in your account there, you have it as savings.
Yeah.
That is if you're working with a notable, and that is also if you've risen through the ranks.
Yeah.
But aside that, I feel for, you know, I lectured at GH Media.
Yes.
And then I lectured for 2 years. And I can tell you that I feel sorry for most students who are coming out of school and they want career opportunities in journalism. The media is choked. It's choked. One of the reasons why I had to resign was simply because I realized that even those with the degrees from the GIGs and the AUCCs are not getting the jobs.
Yeah.
They're struggling to enter. Look, I see people do internship for 2 years, 3 years. Internship, 2 years, 3 years. How do they survive? Some people were there 3 years. All these 3 years they come and they are solely depending on Solly. So the day there is no Solly for them, all hell breaks loose. And you see, then the proliferation of journalism schools everywhere. Now everybody thinks that within 2-3 months they can become a radio, a TV presenter.
Oh, in fact, not long ago I saw one on Facebook, 2 weeks diploma in journalism.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. You see, and that's where I think that just like the way you can't become a medical doctor in 6 months or in 1 year, or you can't become a lawyer in this, or you can't become an accountant, the GJA must start streamlining its operations.
That is bringing me to my next question. Should journalists be licensed?
I think so. And I think the journalism schools must be reviewed, especially the mushroom ones, those who come 2 weeks, 6 months and everything. If teachers have been licensed, journalists must be licensed.
Do they even have the legal backing to operate in the first place?
The schools?
Yes. Do those schools?
You know, when you listen to them, they'll say that they have the GES diploma, the GES certification, and all those things.
But when they produce the materials don't get employed by GES.
They don't even get employed. And I realize that sometimes you realize that the school certificates that they give to students, their WASI certificate is bigger and higher and has more value than the certificate that the school gives to them.
Exactly.
So why go to a school that your WASI, because if I go to, let's say, GH Media, and let's say that I went to do study journalism and have a certificate, and I can't use the certificate to go to the university, and I still have to use my WASI certificate to go to the university, then why do I have to go back to that school?
Exactly.
Why go if I go to another journalism school elsewhere and I can't use that certificate to apply to any university in Ghana to even level 100?
Yes. Yes.
Not even level 200,
That's
level
right.
100. Let me add it to my WASI certificate, and I know that, I have something to take me to level 100. It is not even accepted.
Yeah.
So then why go? That, they are creating this thing that's they are small stations. And that's the reason why we have the proliferation of so many stations. Some of them, their names I don't want to mention. You listen to these stations and you see the people there and they think it is screaming and shouting and
That's
and they
right.
think that is, and listen to the way sometimes you read the news. You think that it is, I don't know how to put it.
Sometimes even rape is trivialized with all sorts of jokes.
It's all sort of joke, and they're screaming, shout, and it has, sadly enough, it has become the norm. And people think that that's the way things should go. And you and I know that it is not right.
Yeah, that's true.
You and I know that it's not right in that area.
True. That's true. That's true.
So we journalists must be licensed. If it's not licensed, there should be a law, something backing like their operations. That must be, it must be binding. And get me? And there should be like a framework that tells you people how news should be read, whether it's in the local language and what is the screaming and the shouting. Who does that?
Yeah.
I don't know who invented that and why it has become a norm. I just don't know. And it bothers me so much.
Will the trip-only assignment remain the most difficult assignment in your career?
Yes.
Is that the most difficult?
The most difficult, the most scariest for me was the Adome Bridge. When we sit in a canoe, we had to paddle, go under the bridge to go and see where the crack had developed. And it was my first time sitting on the canoe in the middle of the water.
Nowhere.
Nowhere. A little distance, you are under the bottom of the lake. Even though the guy who was paddling the canoe was telling that, oh, trust me and everything. Yeah, when the guy said, I think that time he said we should give him 50 cedis. Just because I didn't want him to, in the middle of the lake, he would tell me that the money is small. And so we should add up. I made 100 cedis to I didn't know what I would do. Yeah.
You didn't want labor unrest in the midst of performance.
No, if you're in the middle of the lake and he tells you, get off my canoe, can you swim? Can you swim to shore?
That would be scary.
Yeah. So the most scariest for me was the Adome Bridge incident. And the most dangerous for me was the Tripoli incident.
Yeah. But which one remains the most exciting for you? I mean, you did that one. You look back and you say, yes, for this one, I did it.
Oh, then I'll say two. You know, my hometown, the secondary school needed a boys' dormitory and they needed a wall and they needed a borehole. And because they knew I was working in the media, they sent a petition to my mom that this is what the school needs. And my mom called me that, oh, I should come home. The school says they need this. So I did a story about the school, the challenges that they need and everything. And in 6 months, they got the wall, they got the side building. Right now they have the boys' dormitory, the wall has been built, they have a ball and everything. And because of that, my mom is on the school board. So anytime I'm going home and I see the school, it brings some nostalgic.
That's right. A sense of satisfaction that this is impact. A sense of
good. And like Trip only remains very telling to me because myself, I've experienced war before. Again, I lived with my parents in Liberia when the war happened. Okay. Again, by then I was young. I think I was just about 5 or 6 years. I don't remember much. But the little that I do remember, again, even till today, when I hear knockouts play, I feel uneasy. You get the whole thing.
Yeah.
So because of that, anytime I relive the Tripoli experience, it makes me relive the Liberia experience. And
what is your take on Solly?
Personally, be told, when I was an active reporter, I used to take solid. Now I used to take bar. I won't say, if I say I didn't take, maybe others will come and tell you on this platform that they never took solid.
Yeah.
As for me, Eric it is out and put it in a record. I took solid rough. Sometimes, one funny thing, let me tell you one funny thing. 2 times that I got one of the, let's say, biggest solids. It was one Saturday. My boss was like, I needed to do an interview with one of the health ministers. I won't mention his name.
Okay.
Said that I needed to do an interview with the health minister. Well, no, no, it wasn't a health minister, it was a minister, let me say.
Okay.
I've been calling this man from Monday to Friday, and I was not getting him. And my boss was like, I need that by Monday. If you don't get this interview, I'm going to suspend you. I've sent the man messages. I've gone to his office. I've done everything. The man was not responding. Then I'd given up. It was Saturday around 4:30 in the morning. I'd woken up during my quiet time. And the man sent me a message on my phone that he will be at the ministry latest by 6:15. If I can come there for us to do the interview, fine. If not,
6:15 in the morning.
6:15 in the morning. That's what he said. If I can come there for us to do the interview, fine. So I said, no problem. I said, I'll come. My problem was how to get a cameraman. I called about 10 cameramen. All of them, oh, today's Saturday. No. Then I was begging. I said, I'll pay for your drop-in. I'll do everything. Still, I was not getting. Then fortunately, one cameraman decided that he would go with me. So we met there. We got there around 16. And indeed, the minister was in his office. Wow. We did the interview. We did everything. And when we were going, the minister said, get this envelope for your troubles.
Wow.
And I won't disclose the amount, but what I gave to the cameraman, he stood there, he looked at me quietly. He was like, Curtis, is there another assignment we should go?
He was ready and available for the whole day.
There was another assignment too. I was supposed to go. By then, I was a news editor, and I needed my reporters to go, but there was nobody there. It had come impromptu. And decided, no, this one, let me just decide to go. When I went, by then, you're a big man. So when they're writing the names and those things, so I just went to stand aside, just thinking about myself, Then the guy came. He saw me, oh, Curtis, the big boss himself. You came yourself. No, wait. He brought something very interesting. And the cameraman was like, Charlie, boss, anytime we PBR, let me know. That kind of thing. Solely, enjoy it. I was taught one thing, enjoy. No matter the kind of solid you take, it should not
influence your
story. If the story is a bad story, the story is a bad story. Let me at the beginning of my career, let me tell you this, but I won't mention the company's name.
Okay.
There was one company was erecting their mast. One company were erecting a mast. I won't say whether it's a telecommunication company or an internet service provider.
Yeah.
They were erecting their mast, and we happened to be in a vicinity doing a story. And the people working on the mast, one person fell down from the top.
Wow.
And he hit a wall and he died instantly. And we were there. We got the visuals.
Okay.
We got the visuals of the man falling. The cameraman got the visuals of the man falling. So we even followed up at the hospital and everything. We got all those story and everything. So we were ready to come and do the story. So when we were coming to the office, we realized that a black SUV was following us. So just around the 37 military hospital, the bus stopped there. The people stopped us. I said, boss, if you don't do this story, we beg you, just give us the tip because it will affect our company. The people, the man's family and everything is our worker. We'll go and see the family, we'll sort them out and everything. Just give us a tip and everything. Then they brought an envelope, a brown envelope. Do you know how much was inside? That one, I'll mention the amount. It was $8,000.
US dollars?
Yes, $8,000.
They were ready to kill the story for that much.
We should take the money and we should not do the story. Now, by then, you see, I was a young journalist from school. So, Charlie, full body. I said,
That's
no,
right.
no, I won't do this. I won't do this. No, don't take. The camera was hitting me. For the cameraman, the technical people, look at the monetary side of the thing. I said, no. So I went to the office, we went to do the story and everything. You understand? So I just want to say that when a solid comes and he doesn't come with any conditions and everything, I'm supposed to take it or not. You get me? If you're being paid well and you think it will influence you, because there are certain people you don't take solid from them, embarrass you. There are some people to it is safe. Whichever way, you have to decide, use your common sense and decide that this I won't. I've rejected solid before. Honestly, I've rejected solid from certain politicians before because I know these people, they talk. And they can name you and they can shame you.
That's
and
right.
I've taken some, some is just like a friendly banter. I mean, my best solid has to do after doing the story and everything. Then they'll call you that my boss wants to see you. I did a story for some group of people and I was going one Friday, me and my shit. And it was like, my boss wants to see you. I said, where's your boss? Spintex Road. I said, Spintex Road, it's Friday, traffic. Then the lady was, oh, please come. And my boss, this. I said, okay. Out of respect, I went. When I went and I was going back home, I was smiling all the way to the house. So, are you getting it? So you must know, you must apply common sense and wisdom. You get me?
But
because
I'm interested in the end of that story where the person died.
Oh, yes.
At the mast, yes.
We did a story. The story ended.
Okay.
The story ended. The most important thing was that the story ended. My bosses didn't sit on the story. The story ended. And you can, when a story ended, it forced the people to pay the right form of compensation
to the family.
To the family.
Okay.
And the wife and the children and everything. You get me? Yeah. Had the story not aired, maybe the situation might have been different.
Especially if probably the family were illiterate and they were not that exposed. They would just corner them with something small to cover up.
I had to follow up on that story. I followed up on that story till the end, even till the funeral, where the people were, the family were duly compensated. Oh, it was a good compensation. But it really affected their operations a little. It made them delay in the operation. But at the end of the day, it was justified.
Attrition in the media is high. You are one of them. One of the talents journalism has lost to corporate communications. And of course, I'm sure over the top of your head, you have so many colleagues and even classmates who also have found comfort, either in other aspects of communication or in entirely different fields. What is occasioning this trend? What is happening?
Stephen, I think it comes from two ways. Some people, after 15 years, 20 years doing one thing, you feel it's time to change. And others too, from my engagement with most of my colleagues, they feel insulted that you can do this job for 15, 16 years, 20 years, and your salary is nowhere compared to a fresh graduate who is working at KPMG or Ernst & Young.
Yeah.
They feel quite insulted. So when the opportunity comes for them to do corporate communication and you are giving a letter, there we are offering the employment as this. Your net salary will be this, that, and everything. Then he can start imagining the car that he wanted to drive that he's not been able to buy, the kind of house he wanted to rent. Corporate communications. That's I'm saying that in the media, if you find yourself at the top, you can sustain it and you can be okay there. But even those at the top, at a point in time, they even move on. And a lot of them have. Because at a point in time, and you see, Stephen, if today, I'm to pick up my camera, call a cameraman, and we have to go out on assignment, I don't think I'll see my mates.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll see very
entirely different faces.
Entirely different faces. So sometimes when you're at a place and you don't see your classmates, it reminds you of one thing: you are growing old. Yeah.
Especially when the gray is coming.
Then the gray, you see yours is there, mine is there. Good. Yeah, but mine is a stress gray. Yours is old age gray. Good. But it just tells you that you are growing old.
That's true.
Can you continue going out on assignments and everything just like that? Can't. And when you stay in your office too, you don't get solid. So what do? You have to go. Yeah, you have to move on.
Eric Curtis Howe. This is PENSDOWN. I have had the company of one of the most exciting personalities I have ever met in my life. Maybe, let me say, my young life, although he describes me as an old man, that's his choice. This has been PENSDOWN. We've talked his journalism journey, why he got in, how he chose the side of journalism he chose. And we've also taken his perspective on some issues that bother on journalists, their welfare, their future, and all. This has been PENSDOWN. We talk journalism journeys here. We'll be back another time, and another person will occupy the seats for their turn as we talk their journalism journey. Thank you for being with us. Eric, I'm grateful.
I'm grateful to Stephen. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. That'll be all for today. Bye.